Wake up and let's go to the Mindless Morning Show.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Mindless Morning Show. I'm here with my co-host Dakota, as always. We have a very special guest that I will let Dakota announce because this is his good friend. So,
yeah. Spoiler alert: Casey and I are friends. I've known him for a little while. How long have we known each other, Casey?
You know, we have been like one person away from each other for like since we were children. Like just like one singular friend away. And it wasn't until like I don't know, like I feel like maybe just after high school we hung out at like at one point we like met up. And then weirdly enough, so actually this is kind of funny. So I used to play, we have a bunch of like mutual friends and we'd get on Xbox and we'd play with them. And I knew Dakota from that. And so we got to know each other like through Xbox. And then I have a job at FedEx. And so this one day, like,
one of my
it'd been so long since I had seen Dakota that I wasn't really thinking about it. But like, he started a job and worked there for literally a total of like 2 days, I think.
Dude, I don't think we had met in person yet, though. We've only had played Xbox Live.
I think we maybe met at like a party at one point.
Yeah, like very
somewhere, brief. But like just like a really brief, like nothing of it. But then, so I'm like working like an hour into my shift after like kind of helping this kid around and showing him around. And he like said something and I was like, wait, are you Bear Jew? Because I was his gamer tag. And then we had a good laugh of like, oh my God, what's up, dude?
I knew it was you because of your laugh. I was like, why have I heard that before so many times? Like, but yeah, so for everybody out there, this is my good friend Casey Norgard. Besides playing Xbox Live, he is a pretty good drone flyer.
Yeah.
He's also a disc golfer and he does lighting for EDM shows. So pretty sick stuff that we're gonna kind of.
Isn't disc golf basically it's frisbee golf, right?
I mean, if you want to call it that. Some people say that Frisbee is a product of Whammo. That was like the original. So originally when Frisbees were invented, it was like a pie tin. And then Whammo, the toy company, was like, there's something to this. So they made like a plastic Frisbee is what they call it. So then that's just like, it's kind of like Kleenex, you know, like everybody just calls like a tissue, Xerox, you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if I wanted to go and play with a toy, I would go play frisbee golf. But if I wanted to go and like play a sport, I would play disc golf.
I'll call it frisbee golf too. I don't really care.
It really separates the boys from the men.
Yeah. But
that's awesome.
What made you play, or like what got you into that? Because I
actually started doing it a long time ago with like, it was something my oldest brother did. And it was something that we just kind of got into together. I've always done it super recreationally, like,
yeah.
And then kind of honestly, like COVID hit, and that was really one of the only things that like you can order discs online, and then every place you go to is free. So like you can travel places, you can go to a different city, go into a park. You don't have to be around people. So like during COVID, disc golf just like exploded completely.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of also aligned with, I don't really have like cable anymore.
What's that?
There's no need for it.
Yeah, literally, exactly. So like I don't really watch live sports, but I still like sports.
Mm-hmm.
And the disc golf coverage on YouTube for, just like 4 different channels is so good, and it's like so well put together that it's just like the most enjoyable, like, hour and a half of my day every like Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
I've seen some dope highlight clips of some disc golf stuff.
It's crazy. And now I've finally gotten into watching it live, and really glad I did, because this year there's just been some crazy moments, like in the like really high professionals that are just like totally wild. This guy who won the world championship this year made a like 300, almost 300-foot shot to send it into an overtime to win the world championship.
Clutch.
Against like a defending like 5 or 6 time world champion. And I was watching that live, and I've watched sports my whole life, and that was the most exciting thing I've ever seen happen in live sports. Right,
Angels.
It was just like
those angels on the disc golf course.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So real quick, is the goal to get it in the what is it? A cage?
The chain thing.
Yeah, it's like a basket.
Okay.
So
it's one first try, or like wherever it lands, you.
I mean,
have to pick
ideally,
it up
yeah, you
Yeah,
get it first try. That would be really awesome.
It's golf, but with discs.
Essentially, it's just golf.
So they do just pick it up wherever it landed and throw again.
Yeah, exactly. But you have a bunch of. So I think my bag has 15 discs in it right now, and they all behave differently when thrown at different speeds. Sometimes they don't behave.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but they all have their own little place, in my bag to do certain types of shots or certain things to make it around stuff or into stuff or straight.
Like a driver and a putter, essentially.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's like the basic. And then you have mid-range in between that. And then between mid-range and driver, you have a fairway driver. So they're all different.
Mario Golf.
They all have different speeds and, I already made fun of it, behaviors, but like
it just made me confused. I was picturing them all being alive and then like, pick me, pick me.
All of mine in the air, like, watch me not do what you said.
Wrong choice, asshole.
So what is the difference between what Waco makes with the Frisbee and the is there like a regulation type disc that you guys have to use, or how's that?
So everything is there's the PDGA, which is like the Professional Disc Golf Association. And that's like also a regulatory agency of approving discs to be used. So there are certain standards, and like there's like a rule, like a bunch of rules of what you can and can't do when making a disc. But like, so here, I actually have one.
Do you make your own?
I don't make I dye my own.
I was going to bring that up. I remember when you had posted the ones that you dyed. They were pretty
cool. So like that's a driver. So like a regular Frisbee, actually, oddly enough, I have one.
I came prepared.
I swear this is kind of more of a traditional type thing. It's got like the big rim on the inside. And then, that this is what you would use as a putter, but this is like a driver. So it's a lot more narrow.
So based off of that visual design of each that you just showed us, you're saying that it's the rim job.
Yes, exactly. Yes. The way the rim jobs work is the narrower the rim job, the faster it goes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that makes
hell yeah.
Yeah. So it's all aerodynamic. So when you're throwing it at full speed, the like thinner stuff, as opposed to like your Frisbee that you would use at home or whatever, is just a lot faster in the air. So if you have fast arm speed, you can throw it really far.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I mean, how long have you been doing it?
So, I mean, I've been playing since I was like, I'm 30 now. I've been
disc golf, not rim job.
I mean, it's a similar timeline, but no, like I've been like playing very recreationally since I was like 13. But like I said, so COVID hit this year and it got really big, and I started watching a lot of the coverage of it, and it just like, you get into stuff, and I
want to do that.
Yeah. And I've always been a competitive person. So I was like a wrestler in college. And that is something that, first of all, I get into adulthood and I realize like hardly anybody has hobbies. Like they just like, people just like go through their day and like don't like have a thing to do sometimes, and it's like, whoa, man, like how do you?
That's true.
I just get too bored for stuff like that.
Yeah.
But oh geez, what were we talking about?
I brought up being an adult and just forgot everything. I started thinking about my adult life, and
That's the most adult thing to do.
What was I?
Not fun.
Supposed to do?
Yeah. No, I was just asking how long you had been doing it since you were 13. So
since I was 13, but just until this year, I started actually doing like tournaments and getting like somewhat competitive with it. Yeah. And what's hard for me is the fact that like I was really good at wrestling, and I like to think that I'm way better than I am at disc golf. Like I think I should be like competing with the very, very best of them.
That's the.
And I just went out and I just took a big old dookie in the middle of that disc golf course this weekend. I did not do the best.
You gotta have that mentality, though. You gotta.
Yeah, I don't know, and I also because I'm still
a pile of shit here in the middle of the field. We're walking on the course right here, jackass.
I had to go. This had to happen, man.
Oh, my bad. What's
a bad day?
Speaking of your dookiness, what's the best shot or like craziest shot that you've made while playing? Do you have one?
Yeah, actually, like
a happy
4 months ago, I had a 320-foot hole in one.
Shit. That's
which
impressive.
Is a bomb. Like it was, of course, it was during a practice round the day before a tournament. So why do it at the tournament when you could do it the day before when it doesn't matter? And I was alone. I was just doing a practice round. So I didn't have anybody to like celebrate with. And it's like this private disc golf course. So I just like looked around for people that weren't there to be happy for me. I had nobody. It was so depressing. Finally, I saw one kid like 6 holes later, and I was like, I hit an ace on hole 10. Let it be known.
Like, yeah, sure you did, guy. Whatever you say, bro.
Just do it again.
Dude, that's why Allen Iverson went on that rant about practice, bro. It makes so much more sense when you think about it now.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck practice. You could have done that in the game. Right?
Yeah, totally.
Just kidding. Any kid out there listening, go to fucking practice.
Or don't. It's your choice.
Yeah.
You know.
Could you see the hole, or like when you got there,
yeah,
it was in there?
That one I could.
Say, you like throw it and you can't see, and all of a ssudden, like just like some kid, he runs by and picks it up and chucks it in for you, and then runs. You're like, oh, I fucking made it! Holy shit!
I did it. Yes.
That's playing with the angels on the disc.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, spooky ghosts out there lifting that shit up and putting it in for you. That's cool.
Right. I need one of those.
Right. All right. So besides the disc golf stuff, I guess let's stick with the flying theme. You fly some drones.
I do.
A little bit about that. I know you have some funny stories about it as well as some really cool ones. So
yeah. So I do what's called FPV drones. So it's not like the DJI Mavics or anything that just like go up. So I'm wearing goggles.
Yeah.
That exactly. Just like that.
I can't do that. I'm not flexible enough. I tried it. We both tried, and you can do it.
Oh wow! I haven't tried this since I was a young buck.
Oh god, I hate both of you.
You have to do it, Dakota.
I can't.
You can do it.
Oh, I did it.
Where'd you go?
Yeah.
I knew you could.
I know. I was.
For anybody just listening and not watching, we're making
like,
really
what
funny
the hell
faces.
just happened?
Yes.
And go like,
So it's high speed drones. So like my 6-inch quad, I think I can get up to, I think it's like 80 miles an hour, just like kind of on a normal pack. But that is too fast. But yeah, so I have the video signal going to my goggles. So it's first person. So as I'm flying it, I'm getting borderline instantaneous video feed of what's going on. And then I also have a GoPro that gets strapped to the top of it. And that's what does like the actual HD recording. And it is a very expensive hobby.
Wow. I realized it really quick, and I'll only be brief on it because I touched on it on our solo episode. But I had bought a DJI Spark, and I had like the nice kit with the controller, like phone sets in it, and I tried out sports mode for the first time, and it like smacked into a tree, fell to the ground, gimbal busted, like shit, just like. It was a very depressing thing, and it like literally just got done dropping like 500 on it, and I fucking flown it only like maybe 4 times prior to that.
See, Josh, this is why we can't have nice things.
Dude, my wife was pissed.
Oh no. Oh no.
I didn't even get to fly it. Wow, thanks.
I quit. I had to quit telling Karen about the crashes that costed money because the more questions are not going in my favor.
What was the one that got stuck that you had to spend a couple of days getting out?
Couple of days?
How long was it? How long was it?
Try like a month and a half. So
yeah. I saw this video where it went up in a tree and like it stuck there, and it said 4 to 6 weeks later.
And that's about precisely how long it was.
Just all the gaming would be like, okay, I gotta go try to get my drone out of it again.
Literally, and it was in a park that was like a quarter mile from my house, so it was totally walkable. And I could go and I could just go look up in the tree, and I could just see one tiny little propeller just in the very tip top of that tree, and I was like, it's still there. But that sucker's stuck, and
it's just going like you're like.
But that happened. That happened like I think a week before I took a vacation to the Grand Canyon, which goes through like Moab and like all these sick places. So my GoPro and my drone are up in the very tip top of this tree. And
you let it sit up there so long,
bro. It was. I
would have chopped the fucking tree down.
Listen, I thought
it's just chop trees down, man.
It was a huge tree, and I tried everything. I had water bottles, and I messed up my hands because I would get water bottles and we'd tie ropes around them, and I'd throw it to the top, trying to hook it around a branch, and it would rope burn me on the way up, and like it was a nightmare. And then finally, my dad showed up, of course. Gotta call Daddy, and I'm like, Dad, my drone is stuck in a tree and I can't get it out.
I've tried everything.
So
did you throw a water bottle at it again, Casey?
He's an electrician. He's got like this like light changer for our gymnasiums that you can like extend out, and it goes all the way to the top, and it'll grab a light bulb.
Yeah,
and got it, but got it like a week after the vacation that I could have really used it on. So.
And it all still worked, right?
So the battery, well, the problem initially was the battery. I had a dead cell in it. So like I tried to give it throttle, and it just like wasn't there. So it just kind of fell out of the sky.
That's how it got stuck.
Yeah. So that's how it got stuck up there. So the battery was completely cached, and I plugged everything in, and other than just having to like recalibrate my flight controller, I don't know what could have caused it to like lose calibration in that, but I just had to recalibrate it, and it was flying on its merry way. And honestly, like it got to the point where like I can build a drone. Like that's not a problem to me. I got to the point where I was about to get on Facebook and be like, if anybody gets this drone out of this tree and just gives me the GoPro, you can have the drone and I'll teach you how to fly it and like do whatever. I just want my GoPro back. Like,
they used to call the fire department to get like little fucking cats out of trees. Why didn't you think?
I highly considered calling the fire department, not only because I really
this isn't an emergency.
It's not an emergency.
That drone is more expensive than the cat.
Yeah, seriously. But I also like, so a lot of people in the drone hobby do what's called like long range. And that stuff always kind of makes me nervous, especially in Colorado. Cause like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen a LiPo battery catch on fire. Like it's a very intense situation. If something punctures it and it just happens to blow up, like that is a fireball for 10 seconds that will catch anything on it, fire around it within 5 feet.
Okay.
And so people do this long range stuff, and that's what always freaks me out about it. And I just know that at some point that's going to ruin the hobby, that somebody's going to crash their drone, it's going to hit a rock in the middle of some national park or something,
I was gonna say
It's going to puncture one of those batteries, and it freaks me out so bad. So I'm always like pretty close and pretty careful about what I do. But some of those guys, I just feel like something's gonna.
That's crazy. I would be so worried about it too.
I'm like, and that's why I thought maybe I should call a fire department, is because it does have one of those LiPo batteries strapped to like the very tip top of this tree right now, and it's about to coming up on summer. It might like get hot and swell up, and
it's just gonna bust.
Yeah, that would have been bad. Yeah, no, when I was reading throughout my manual, the DJI Spark I got, and it said it like goes up to like 4 miles, and I was like, what? I was like,
dude.
Who lets it go that far from them? That shit won't leave my sight.
Right? Yeah, totally.
No way. I feel like anytime I saw
That's
a
wild.
drone, my first instinct was to start like looking around to see which motherfucker was flying it, to be like, "Where are you? I'm gonna find you." Like, he's like in a bush behind a tree, like Call of Duty style, hiding to like.
Yeah, more than likely, he's probably pretty far away because people are pretty stupid with that stuff.
Yeah. Have you ever seen anything weird or anything you weren't supposed to see while flying a drone?
Man, I wish I could.
You would.
I wish I had. I more than anything wish I had a story for that question.
All of a sudden, you turn into Shia LaBeouf and watch that murder happen. Dude,
what movie was that? I remember that.
Disturbia, bro. It was a good movie.
Disturbia.
Disturbia, that's right.
It's a good one.
That was a good one. He was all on house arrest.
Yeah.
Didn't he? Was it through a drone he saw? I thought he just looked out the window.
No, he was just looking out the window with his binoculars and his friend. And well, friends, I guess, because there was two.
Is it LaBeouf or LaBeouf?
LaBeouf. Like
it is?
No, I don't know. That's what I say. It's LaBeouf, but I just call him LaBeouf because
I hear a lot of people now calling him Shia LaBeouf, and it's really confusing me.
So
yeah, I guess the only way we're gonna be able to get this is to get him on the show.
I know what boofing is.
Okay, so that's why I say Shia LaBeouf, just for shits and giggles.
Right after I say we should try to get him on the show. I don't know if he's gonna happen.
Yeah, he's got to be cool. I mean,
he's kind of got to be.
You still
out there too,
Josh. You still haven't watched the actual Cannibal Shia LaBeouf, have you?
What?
The video, Casey. Have you not seen it either?
Cannibal Shia LaBeouf.
Dude, it's like a musical that these people did, like of Shia LaBeouf, and it's great. And you should watch it because it's funny.
Oh, he's not eating somebody.
He does in the thing, in the song, in the cartoon. And then they turned it into like this opera thing, and it ends, and he's like in the crowd, and he stands up and starts like clapping. It's great because Shia LaBeouf's cool.
Is that what the meme came from when he's like?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I'll have to see this.
I had no idea. I thought he was just watching something cute in a movie theater.
Nope, that's what he's watching.
He was watching Happy Tree Friends.
Oh man, how did we get to this?
Sorry.
So, are you ever gonna compete in drones or no? Just a hobby?
Not really. So there's kind of two different styles of that hobby. There's what they call freestyle, which is just like kind of go out, and I also enjoy the aspect of the hobby of like the video editing and like cutting things together. So it's more of like a artistic take on the hobby as opposed to a competitive take on the hobby.
For anybody out there listening that wants to see kind of a little bit he's talking about, he's got an Instagram with a bunch of his videos that he does with his drone. What's it called, Casey?
Called lights_n flights. Well, underscore flights.
Well, we'll have the links in the description for everybody.
We'll put them down there, but they're cool. They're cool. I was gonna say when he was doing
it makes me so jealous, man. I never even got a chance to make a good video. I was still in the phase of just having fun with the actual like the unit and just exploring and looking around myself without actually recording. And
I know, man. I know. It's honestly, it's been a couple. I guess like since I was down in Moab, I like took it off for a little bit, but it's been a while since I really got back because, man, that stuff just adds up. Like you can crash, and that crash can be a $300 crash all of a sudden, and it just
that'd be rough.
Only is it financially difficult, but emotionally, I just spent like a day building this thing, and then all of a sudden it's in like 4 pieces and ripped apart. And I'm like, man, I'm going to tear down that tree. I'm going to cry about my drone a little bit in the middle of this field.
Dude, the guy who got me into
girlfriend gets home.
What's that?
I said, and then your girlfriend gets home and is like, how was flying your drone today?
Yeah.
How expensive was flying your drone is what she used to ask me.
Yeah.
How expensive was flying your drone?
Basically, because the guy who had got me into drones, he had bought like a $1,300 drone. He's talking about it, and I'm like, oh wow, that's really cool. He's showing me all the videos he's taken with it so far. And then like 3 days later, yeah, Poppy, it crashed. Fucking pieces everywhere. I'm like, damn, dude, that sucks. And I was like, so what are you going to do now? He's like, oh, I got this other one. It's better. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, it was 1,600, but it's okay. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yep.
Dude, and he just spends on it. And I was like, that's insane.
Yeah, totally. And that DJI stuff. So drones are in a weird state in the government right now where in the next like year and a half, they're going to be restricted to the point of if you're seeing a drone in the sky, it's being operated by a professional for a certain specific reason.
Oh, cool.
So like basically what they're presenting right now is if I want even my drone, like my FPV drone that I race, if I were to want to go to a parking lot and fly my FPV drone around, not harming anybody, I would have to submit a flight log. So like my plan for the flight of my drone within a parking lot.
Nice.
To the FAA.
So you can do it.
So I can do it. And I just
do
like
a pattern that's shaped in like a penis or boobies. Or
that's what it'll probably turn into, to be honest with you.
Because anytime I loaded up the app basically to view the thing, the camera of the drone, it told me I can only go so high, and there were certain areas that like it wouldn't even fucking activate if it was a no-fly zone.
So that technology that wouldn't let it activate is now going to be basically the same tech that they're using in all drones of before anything gets completely restricted. What'll happen is there'll be an app, like an FAA app that you can have on your phone. If you see a drone in the sky, theoretically, have you ever used Google Sky Maps where you like point your phone at the sky and it tells you what stars are what?
Yeah.
Ideally, you'd be able to point your phone to the sky and it would show you the drone, what drone it is, who owns it, and like their pilot's number on it. To make just so people can feel safe. And I get it, but like
that's not to feel safe. That's the control.
Yeah, man.
Skynet.
But like
Skynet's coming.
The whole argument of like people feeling super unsafe about drones has always just like irritated me because like, and I don't mean this in an offensive way, unless you're up to something like extraordinary, nobody's that interested in your life. Like that's just like how it is. Like unless you know that like people should be probably watching you with a drone.
You guys hear that? Go away, drone. You're at my window. Hold on,
that's
guys.
just like not happening. And if it is happening, it's like such a tiny, minute percentage.
It's probably not happening for the reason.
It's just like realistically, that's like being scared of lightning because you're scared you're going to get struck by it, where it's like that just doesn't really happen very often. So like you're probably safe.
Yeah, and for the most part, I mean, the little device that everyone keeps in their pocket or within like 2 feet of them at all times, such as, their phone.
Oh, yeah.
will do a lot more than what the drone's going to be able to do.
Right.
It'll collect a lot more data on that.
Totally, 100%.
It's crazy what people pick and choose to worry about. But yeah, no, that's definitely a total control thing. It's probably because, I seen that. Have you seen the video demonstration? This guy has this tiny little drone and he chucks it in the air, and then he's able to have it identify the the target on stage, and it has like a little shrapnel bomb attached to it. So basically, it flies directly to them, and with just enough power to like penetrate a hole through the skull and to scramble the brains. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's what they're using.
That's a video game.
No, that's a straight up video of a
I
demonstration.
feel like that was a movie or a TV show.
No,
This isn't real.
I feel like you.
No.
I feel like you've been bamboozled because I
don't
think
know.
You've been bamboozled.
I've seen that before, and I've thought to myself, "That's fake. That's not how a drone actually flies."
Dude, if we're getting to that point in
No,
technology,
sure
man,
could.
Skynet's coming. I'm telling you.
I don't know. I'll have to find the video. And I'll send it to you guys.
Send it to me.
Yeah,
It was
I'm gonna
crazy.
send you the Shia LaBeouf thing too.
Perfect. Thank God.
We should put these links down in the for everybody.
I've already, like-
interested in wanting to.
I already typed in the title we're going with for this: rim jobs on the disc golf course.
Jobs on the disc golf course. I love it. That's perfect.
It's a perfect title for that.
So I guess jump into the next thing that you do, your lighting stuff for
Yeah, the man of many trades here.
Yeah.
Trades.
Do you only do it for EDM shows, or have you ever done it for just like another concert, like a rock concert or rap concert or anything? Is it always
So I have done not necessarily lighting for. Well, the only shows I've ever done lighting for are usually electronic.
Mm-hmm.
So I've worked like tech work and stuff like that for like festivals that are not electronic, or like rock and reggae and all kinds of different stuff. I'm usually a tech at shows like that, but for like the flash and trash lights EDM, that's my kind of forte.
What all goes into that? Like, are you guys? Is there a software or program that is running based on what the DJ plays, or is that all pre-programmed?
So that's essentially what. So you build the show, which is a very fast way to say you tie every single light, video wall, everything together electronically, program it into it's whatever program it uses. So video uses something else, lighting uses something else, sound uses something else. And so for what I do, we have a lighting console. I run on what's called a Camsys. And it is a program that I have to patch. So I have to take every single light that's on the stage and patch it in to my console. So basically I have individual control of each individual light on stage. And so what I end up doing is setting up different looks and patterns for the lights to be doing. And basically, do you play video games at all? It's like setting up a macro.
You guys haven't
in a
played
video
together?
game. So like basically I'll set up a fader that will be controlling the actual like level of the light. And then I'll have like buttons and faders that are controlling strobes and speeds of strobes and different movements of like the actual moving headlights. And I'll, just different colors in faders, and basically everything you can think of is basically a button that I have. And if it's not a button I have, I can press one or two buttons on a screen and be right to where I need to be to change the color, or add some sort of effect, or do some sort of like chase or something like that. It's hard to learn, but once you figure it out, it all just kind of makes sense. But the easiest way to think about it is like programming macros to a video game of like, I want this to be attack, which is strobe light,
So do you, or what would be the average number of lights that you have control of at any given time?
I would say for most of the shows we do, so let's say, so for at least like moving headlights, there's anywhere from probably lower end like 12, upper end like 40.
Okay.
But then you also have like strobes and different things that can still be controlled by the lighting console. So at a time I would be able to individually control one of, on any stage, probably at least like 40 things.
Dang.
Yeah. And sometimes that's like hazers. So I can like, if I really want to, if I know that it's like a slow part of a song or something, there's going to be a big buildup and like a big drop, I can go dark, and then I have a hazer button that I can turn on a fog machine, like basically at the stage. So when I know that we're about to have a big drop, there's already haze filling the dark room. So as the haze is filling and the drop is coming, the lights are all going to look better because I just fogged out everything from my console.
What was the first show you ever did lighting for?
First show I ever did lighting for, it was called Foam Wonderland. It was a foam show in Denver, and the headliners were Tritonal, who like I actually really like now. And it was like one of those things where it was a super stressful show. It was my first show ever. And my boss was like so stressed out about everything. He was the one who was originally doing lights. Mm-hmm. And I got to the point of the show and we're like so pooped. He like was like, here's the buttons, man. Like, you got this.
I'm out later, dude.
Yeah. He's like, I'm gonna go nap in the RV.
Did you mess up at all?
I wish I would have known more because I could have done way better for that show, but I think I did all right. Do you know who the band String Cheese Incident is?
Yeah.
So they're a lighting guy they've had for a super long time. And the way they got him was their original lighting guy got all messed up at a show and was like drunk and yelling at people and not doing good. So they fired him on the spot and found somebody in the crowd and was like, do you want to do lights for this right now? And he got up, ran lights, and he's been doing lights for him ever since.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
dude. That's incredible.
That's insane.
Have you ever had a mess up that was like noticeable during a show?
Oh man. So like electronic music is funny because, well, first of all, I don't know the sets. Like I most of the time I hardly even know the DJ.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm going based off of, I mean, I listen to a lot of electronic music, so I have a good understanding of the flow of it, and I can usually be pretty spot on with everything. But every once in a while, a DJ will add like that extra like half a second right before a drop, and full lights, strobes go for like half a second, then I turn them off really fast, and I just the amount of shame I feel in that moment.
Does anybody ever like turn and look at you like from the crowd?
I've had kids be like, I saw that, man.
I fucking saw that, bro.
That's okay. I think the majority of people at EDM concerts, they're just high off their mind, like and having a good time.
So I just worked my first show in like over a year. It's like the parking lot of the stadium that the Broncos play in. It's like this big 4-stage festival. And I'll tell you what, those little raver kids have been cooped up. There were some eyeballs that didn't even have eyeballs. It was just pupil from inside to outside. And they just had a look of, I kind of miss that shit, to be honest. They just had a look on their face of just, they were having a really good time. Maybe the best time ever. And some of them looked like they were having maybe a really bad time.
Right. And I mean, it's got to be pretty, it has to feel cool because like you're part of bringing that experience for them to life. So I one time had a friend, and I can't even credit myself with this thought because it was a friend who brought it up to me. He was like, so you're like the fire poker. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, think about it. Since like the dawn of time, people have been dancing around a fire.
Yeah. Banging
on drums or whatever. And like, there always had to be a guy who's making sure that the fire was going. And that has like blown my mind ever since. Like, that's totally true. That's like,
that makes it that much cooler.
I know, right? I'm so glad he told me that.
It's like, I do an ancient old fucking job. Been used for centuries.
What's the craziest thing you've seen at one of these shows while you were doing lighting? From DJ or the like thing. You've never done a Steve Aoki one, right? You've never seen the cake?
Never done Steve Aoki. There's like very few DJs that I haven't worked to some capacity for. Whether it be like special effects or video or some like just video teching or like anything of the sort. We used to do the show in Denver called Decadence, and it's really huge. And that's where I got like a lot of the big names checked off my list because it was like, you know, like Dead Mouses and like Odessa and like Illenium's massive names and like the electronic music, Tiesto, stuff like that, where it's mostly like special effects for me. So like cryo and streamers and confetti and stuff like that, which is always fun on a New Year's show. But
yeah, hell yeah. So have you actually got to meet like the DJs that you do the lighting for? Or
I have met some. It doesn't happen as often as people would think that it does.
Yeah. Hey, I'm the guy that does your lighting. I don't care.
A lot of times I'll have like, I can tell a lot about a DJ for just based off like the people on their team that I have to deal with. Cause like,
yeah, that's fair.
You know, you surround yourself with the people you're like, and like almost instantly I can pick up on people's vibes and be like, all right, well, I do not like
not me and him tonight.
But for the most part, everybody in that industry is actually really cool. Yeah. At least in that genre of music. The more I've ran into trouble is when I get out of electronic music, which is kind of interesting. But it just, it's always pretty good. People kind of understand in that world because it's really high stress too. Like, you don't even understand what dealing with a timeline is until you know that thousands of people have tickets to a show that you need to set up in one day. Like that is a type of pressure that you hardly can even like think about, because like most stuff is like, let's say your boss gives you a deadline or whatever, like to a certain extent in most places, that deadline would have some sort of, you know, little bit of itty bitty lenience. People are at the door right now trying to come in, which is just a type of pressure that I can hardly even explain. And that's what makes the job really fun is, you know, like having that environment where you're like, well, we got to make it work. Like shit's got to get done right now instead of, you know, like waiting or whatever. But at the same time, it's like that same stress that you enjoy is like the stress where you're like, I don't know if I can do this again, man. It was crazy how fast, now that like we just went back to our first show, it was crazy how fast, like I was so excited to be working. But almost instantly there was like certain things that happened where I was like, I remember how much I hated this part of this. Like, you know, just when you're dealing with electronics, sometimes stuff just doesn't work, especially electronics that you haven't really fired up as much in the past, you know, year or so. And so like
the strobe lights out, so you're sitting there with a flashlight turning it on and off for the crowd.
Like literally like yeah, totally.
That's the old school way to do it. You know, why hasn't anybody tried to do that? Dude, I would literally like want people strapped to like the big cage bars that they got all around with just like lights attached to their arms, and they do it.
Just two of those like police mag lights, just like aiming around in a foggy room.
Dude, that would be
zip lines, fucking flipping with flashlights, like.
Yeah, you know, like strap them in, lock them in with a harness or something. We can make it safe.
There used to be some like performance electronic music where people would wear like big costumes and have like lasers shoot out of their fingers and stuff.
They got too dangerous.
But yeah, I don't know. That stuff kind of died out after a couple
the lasers turned real.
Yeah, I never understood why some of these DJs say like Dead Mouse 5 or Dead Mouse I wish I was just going to. That big ass fucking mouse head, the marshmallow guy. Yeah. Daft Punk's was kind of cool, and it was a lot more to itself. And
right, and the difference between Daft Punk and everybody else you mentioned is me, a person who's really into it. If I saw Daft Punk walk down the street, I wouldn't know it was them. And so, like, I actually understand the perspective of a mask from the perspective of, shielding yourself from some of that, like, notoriety. Because, like, I personally think being famous would kind of, like, not be awesome sometimes. Like, I'm a little bit...
I feel like these people know who they are, though. Like, they're...
But that's what I'm saying. That's the difference. So I don't really understand it as much with, like, the dead mouse and the marshmallow. And there's been a couple other people that have
Marshmallow literally looks like the generic guy you start off creating anybody in a video game. So like he would be very hard to find in a crowd anyways.
Can tell you his team, super cool, never had any problems with him. So,
did you get to go face to face with the marshmallow or no?
I'd never have been face to face with the marshmallow. I did.
It's been face
one time.
Face to marshmallow.
So Deadmau 5, I was working. He was going to be the midnight New Year's drop. So like midnight was going to hit and then it was going to go straight into a Deadmau set. And like that guy kind of has a rep a little bit of being a little bit of a turd.
Yeah.
And so like I am special effects stage manager. So basically midnight for me at that point is like, my Super Bowl. Like everything is going, like every special effect on stage is going off. Cryo, confetti. There was like 1,000 or like 50,000 balloons or something like hung to the ceiling, and we just had, so people were everywhere ready to do this. And one dynamic I dislike about concerts is how much power we give to the artists. It's like, dude, you're here to play an hour of music. Like, I've been working on this shit all week. Like, I really don't give a shit what you say. But of course, since it's an artist says so, he said he didn't want any of that stuff. So like we had, like 50 pounds of confetti, which doesn't sound like that much confetti. That's so much confetti you can't even wrap your brain around it. It is so much confetti.
It's like one of those we have like oil drums full of confetti.
Yeah, literally. So basically I have to get on the radio and I'm like, all right, everybody, we're not doing it. The guy who did basically all of the balloons, the setup and everything, he was like, fuck this. Like he pulled the balloons at midnight. He was like, no, we're not letting everybody walk out at midnight with these balloons hanging above their fucking heads. That's not happening.
Yeah, that's insane.
So that was like terrible. And then, so that was one experience, a bad experience. And here's one right after that set that was a great experience with the artist. There's this DJ called Excision. Mm-hmm. And he's like death metal EDM, very intense dubstep. And so I don't know what to do with all of this special effects stuff and all this stuff that we have extra. And I walk up to the guy who's actually being like head stage manager. And I'm like, hey man, like, what am I supposed to do with all this shit? Because we didn't use any of it for Deadmau5. And we were supposed to use like 30 pounds or something. And he was like, I don't know, go ask that guy. So I like walk up to this guy he points me to.
Go ask that.
And I'm like, hey man, he just told me to come talk to you. I'm the special effects stage manager. Like, we have so much shit right now. Like, we have way too much stuff. And he was like, well, who's running it? And I was like, I'm going to be the one running it. And he was like, how much do we have? And I was like, 50 pounds of confetti. And he goes like this. And so I walk off. He was like, hit it every drop, like confetti, cryo, every drop you can do. We're going all out. Like, just do it. And so I like walk off stage and I was like, damn, Excision's manager is like the nicest guy I've ever talked to. And then he walks up on stage and starts playing his set. And it was Excision that I was talking to. Oh, and I was like, oh, that guy's a shit. I like him a lot.
That's awesome.
That's fucking legit. He's like, bro, give me that confetti.
Yeah, he was like, give it all to me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean, I don't.
Yeah, dude. I was gonna say I've heard a lot of that stuff about Deadmau5, but he like owns up to it though.
Yeah, totally. And to be fair, like I actually kind of
dick.
I respect the idea of wanting to like have like, okay, techno is a little bit of a different vibe than Excision right after. And so like I actually kind of thought the show probably played out a little better the way Deadmau5 made us do it. But it's like, man, you spend so much prep time.
Yeah,
that's midnight on New Year's. You want everybody to have the confetti and everything. It just didn't happen. But the Excision set was sick. So
that sounds like it made up for it.
And so one of my favorite things to do is like the cryo that we use is these bright red buttons, just like plain as day, 4 buttons, 8 cryo cannons on stage. Press all 4 buttons, they're all going off. That's what I like. And it's got a really long cord. So I was walking up to kids who just looked totally faced in the front row. And I'd be like, you got to press these buttons on the next drop. And these kids that are just out of their minds on drugs get to press the cryo. And that is like the most joy I've ever to a person.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You make them like a temporary god.
Yeah, totally. I've also at the outdoor show we do, the one I just did, I've let kids who look really boogered up, I let them play with the lights a little bit. Like I'll be like, just press this button when it drops, and they'll be like,
so cool.
The only thing better than that is getting hit in the face by Steve Aoki's cake.
Did you get cake?
No, I've never been, but I've seen the people that get it, and it's like
I know
somebody like praise Jesus moment, dude. Yeah,
yeah.
And what did they say about it?
It was terrible. Ruined her night, kind of. Like, we'll just have it happen.
It's terrible.
But like,
the initial is the best thing ever. And you're like, oh, wow, I'm really just all sticky now. The cake didn't even taste good because it was just a cake to throw.
Walmart cake from...
You need to get like one of those big ass ponchos at a Steve Aoki concert.
Right? Yeah, seriously.
Dude, that's so funny.
I want cake, but I don't want to be sticky. Wear a shirt that says that.
Is that something he does? I don't.
Yeah, you've never seen it? Oh yeah.
No.
All of the Steve Aoki concerts, man, there's just like a big ass cake that he has. And he just like hurls it into the crowd at someone, and like people.
But to be fair, the one miraculous thing about it is Steve Aoki's precision.
Oh my god,
is unmatched.
Dude,
that guy will snipe people like 25 feet away with him.
Yeah. It's not like front row, bro. He like fucking hurls.
He launches it.
30 feet into the crowd.
Point like, and chuck it.
Flawless Steve Aoki. He would be amazing to talk to. Like he seems like such a cool dude.
Yeah, seriously.
That'd be a fun one for sure.
That's mostly how it is in the industry. There's like a couple of DJs and stuff that I could name that I would rather not ever be around them in my life.
How about the ones that you would want to be around?
The ones that I would. Well, Cascade, I had a very enjoyable experience with him and his team one time, and he's massive. Like, he's huge.
Really? Like in stature or like?
Just as far as like artist-wise goes.
Okay. I was like, so like as a person, he's a big man.
I did 2 years ago. I guess COVID has got my brain all messed up, but in my last Halloween show, I did lighting for Hodor. Like the DJ, like he's a DJ.
There's a DJ.
Yeah, dude, I knew that.
No. The actual
Hodor.
guy.
It's the actual guy.
The guy. He's a techno artist.
Yeah, dude, he does Rave of Thrones. How do you not know these things? What?
The guy that plays Hodor in Game of Thrones is a fucking DJ.
Yes.
He's a DJ.
Like
and I did like him at my Halloween show 2 years ago.
That's fucking tits.
I didn't know you got to do it for Hodor. Wait, no, yes, I did.
Yeah, they even brought in like a big fake Game of Thrones.
I remember you telling me about it. And I was really jealous because I feel like going to the Rave of Thrones that he does would be one of the coolest fucking things.
Right.
Yeah, he literally has like a Rave of Thrones is what he calls it. But yeah, no, dude, he's a DJ.
Sick too. He was actually pretty legit.
That's awesome. Oh, that's good to hear. I'm glad he's a good person.
Oh yeah, he's a real cool dude. It seems like,
dude.
But
I might just fucking blown up. Like I have so many things to look at after this episode. Holy shit!
Yeah, dude. Didn't you get to meet Darude?
Yes, that was, I guess, like 2.5 years ago.
Nice.
I did a show or a set for Darude. Like Sandstorm, like which was cool because I was like, man, I'm excited to hear a Darude Sandstorm like in person.
Yeah,
like that's gonna be sweet. And it was cool because like 4 times throughout his set he would like weave it in, and then finally at the end it was just full Sandstorm. It was crazy.
That's like,
but he was cool. He was one of the ones that like actually like thanked me after he like walked off stage. He was like, "Oh, lights, thank you so much." Like,
oh, light guy,
awesome. And it feels good to get appreciated every once in a while because, like you said earlier, it's like I really do feel like as like lighting and video and lasers and all those people, like I feel like they're bringing almost just as much to the show as artists are.
Yeah, that helps create that immersion for everybody.
Yeah, totally. And I'll tell you what, sometimes it feels very underappreciated.
Dude, I don't go to too many of these DJ concerts or EDM things. I mostly just do rock and metal. And I mean, they have their share of lights that are badass, but the one light show that I saw that was the coolest thing to me, it was in Amway Stadium, like this big ass stadium in Orlando, and the Red Hot Chili Peppers were playing, and they had these like canister looking lights that were basically hanging from strings, like so many of them, and they would go up and down in different colors.
Oh, kinetic patterns. Lights. Dude, yeah.
They did the coolest stuff in air. And like I had like these nosebleed seats that at first I was like, oh fuck, I could barely like flea literally looks like a flea on stage. And but then like they had this huge light show going on basically above them and like kind of in front of us, and I was just like mesmerized. I was like,
totally. Whoa. Yeah, those are sweet. Those kinetic lights that like go up and down and do all that's so sick.
Dude, they were doing cool stuff.
Wait, Casey, have you ever worked a show at Red Rocks?
So I've worked a few shows at Red Rocks. I've never done main stage lighting, but we used to have a show, Global Dance, that would be there.
Global, yeah.
That would have a stage like at the top. So like there's that big flat spot at the top. But we would have to build main stage and build the second stage too. So like I've definitely worked my fair share, but those were the worst because I worked at the top stage and all the catering and all the good stuff is below main stage. So that walk up and down Red Rocks like 14 times a day, really.
Dude, I honestly don't know how people didn't die walking down those stairs. Like,
it doesn't make sense. It seems like too many steps for any location ever.
Red Rocks is amazing for anybody out there that is in Colorado that wants to see a show, Red Rocks, but just beware of those fucking stairs.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
It's the greatest venue on earth, but you're going to be very tired by the time you make it to your seat.
100%, but it's worth it for sure.
Totally worth it.
Yeah, I saw Kid Cudi there. It was dope.
Nice. I have a concert there next week, actually. First time me and Karen are going to a show.
Who are you seeing?
Alice in Wonderland.
Hey, nice.
Yeah.
Dude, she's good.
Dude, she's so sick. And then in October we have Black Tiger Sex Machine.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm so pumped.
They sound like they get down.
Sure you wear your Sex Panther cologne.
That's aggressive headbanging electronic music. That's the one I can't wait for.
Oh man. That's
so
awesome.
Cool. Man, I gotta say, you definitely have done quite a bit and like a lot of really badass stuff.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
He's like, do you have anybody in the show? I was like, yeah, Casey's done a lot of stuff. I'll see if he wants to come on.
Dude.
I was delighted when you asked me to be on. I thought that was so cool. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, you got any questions or anything from us? I know you had some ghost stuff you mentioned beforehand.
Well, do you guys want to hear my ghost story?
Absolutely.
Obviously.
Okay. Let's go with Cat.
Ghost Cat.
Okay. So
all right.
It's got a sad beginning. I'm sorry. But as any ghost story really does, the beginning is death, if you think about it, really.
It's fair.
So me and my friend Todd were driving around.
Todders.
And I'm going to be honest. We were young. We were smoking marijuana in my car.
I think everybody figured that.
So we're driving around and we take a turn on a street and I press my brakes and a cat darted across the road. The car coming the other way did not see the cat. Cat got hit by a car. It was the saddest thing ever. We tried to find the cat. The cat ran into the shadows, couldn't find it. It's a nightmare, literally a nightmare. Anyways, so cut to.
Wait, so the cat didn't die by the car? It ran into the.
It like hobbled into like some shadows, and then we just. It was a nightmare. So cut to a couple. Maybe like a month and a half later. Todd, me, and Karen are in the car. Same activity, obviously.
I've heard this story.
And so we take the same turn that we took when it happened. And I was like, man, Todd, what do you like? Or no, Todd asked me, he's like, Casey, what do you think happened to like that cat? I was like, honestly, man, it got hit pretty hard. Like I'd be pretty surprised. And so like we take a turn and then take another turn. And so now we're driving behind the house that it happened in front of. But it's like a 40-mile-an-hour road, not like a 25 like the other one is. And so we're maybe 100 yards away from where we saw it. And my girlfriend saw it first. And like right in the middle of the road, as we're still talking about this cat, is like this little ball of darkness. And she saw it first. And then right when I saw it was when I was like getting up to speed, and it was laying right where like my tires go in the road. Mm-hmm. And right before I saw it, I just saw two little beady eyes come from it. Like I saw its eyes look straight at me and I hit it. But when I hit it, there was nothing. So like no sounds, nothing happened to the car. There wasn't anything audible. But all three of us in the car saw it as we're talking about this cat that we saw get hit by a car. Cut to 4 seconds later, Karen is like speechless and like looks at me and just goes, that's the craziest shit that's ever happened to me. And like the whole, like I really hate in like ghost shows and stuff when they're like, the vibe was off. Like I don't like this. I don't like how the vibe is in here. But when I tell you the vibe in my car was like nothing I have ever experienced in my whole life. And like, there is no way that we didn't hit that cat, like as we're driving, like there is.
Did you
where it was?
You?
Huh?
Did you look?
Oh yeah. We looked behind us. There was nothing there.
It's just gone.
Gone.
Dude. Okay.
Weirdest experience ever. And like even talking about it now, like my heart starts beating and stuff because like that shit was crazy. It was like very unexplainable. And like all three of us were like, what the fuck just happened? Like it's weird when it
not
happens.
A single sound.
Not a single sound. There was no thud. Like, I mean, I've hit stuff with my car. Like, I know what's on it.
All right, well, look, you should make that a habit.
Damn.
But like, yeah, nothing.
Have you ever been back?
Not even like a bump in the road sound or any. Like, it was complete silence. But the moment it happened, the whole entire like energy around me just felt completely different than I've ever experienced, especially
when the cat went in your car.
Yeah, I was about to say maybe it was like what that like Matrix thing where the twins like they just like translucent in the back seat. Meow. Yeah, I mean honestly, like I probably would have shit myself and left the car on the side of the road and never turned it. Like if the cat, like if I heard him meow.
Have you ever gone back?
I drive past that spot all the time. It's like a regular spot for me. But it was just so weird that just so happened to happen when Todd was like, what do you think happened to that dude? Like, so we're just like talking about it. And then that happens like and it took like right when I saw it, I couldn't say words for like 10 seconds. And Karen just finally looked at me and was like, that was the craziest thing that's ever happened.
I swear to God, Casey looked over at me and with a blank stare, he went,
Oh, dude.
He started pawing at me, and then like it was weird, man.
That's crazy.
I once, it wasn't like a ghost, at least I don't think it was, but now that like you've told that story, it makes me think that it could have been. My aunt was driving and I was in her car and we were going to pick up my cousin. I don't even know where we were. It was late at night, it was dark, and she like was driving really, really slow, like probably going 15 miles an hour through this neighborhood. And it was like almost pitch black, right under like one of the only lights in the neighborhood she's like going through. This like black lab jumps out of nowhere in front of her car. She hits it, slams on her brakes, looks at me, and I'm like, that was a dog. And she's like, no, it wasn't. And I'm like, yeah, it was. She's like, go check on it. Mind you, I'm like 13 years old. She's the adult. And it's like, go out there and check on it. And it was a dog. So I'm like, I'm going to go look. I open the door. And literally, as I open the door, it like pops up. And I'm like, and the shit gets up and like springs away into the darkness. Like it was completely fine, just disappeared like into the darkness.
That was a chupacabra. Your mom hit the
No, it was
100% found one and you can report it to anybody.
Straight fucking black lab dog. Shit was thick, bro.
Holy shit.
I was scared of chupacabras at one point, man, because my brother told us a story when we were camping out in our backyard, and he told us about the chupacabra, and I was just a little kid and I didn't know what they were, so I thought they ate little children. And I didn't go inside. I slept outside, terrified for the rest of the day. Yeah.
Tale as old as
Didn't
time.
go inside?
Exactly. I'm not scared. Fuck you.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. What was that?
That was your conscience making fun of you.
Dude, it's a cat. I don't have a cat.
That's crazy. Yeah, I had recently wondered if ghosts of animals exist, because I never really hear of those stories, at least to my knowledge, nor have I really taken the time to look into it either. But so I mean, that
it's something that's on my mind all the time.
Those cat.
I never research it.
dude, I don't. I like
Dude, animal
I think
ghosts are
about
real.
a lot of
I've seen
things
one.
and never look it up.
I've told you my pig story where I saw a little pig rolling by. They're real, bro. Animal pigs,
Yeah,
animal pigs,
yeah.
animal ghosts. Yeah.
Tell me that now. That, and to me, I still can't get over the fact that you just happened to see a fucking pig rolling around.
Dude, it rolled by the hallway. It must have been a farm before our house. And then I went to bed and I saw this vision of a sign that said Old McDonald on it.
Stop. Get the fuck out of here.
I have psychic powers. I don't know what's going on anymore.
Well, I gotta say, Casey, you are absolutely more than welcome back anytime you want to come shoot the shit with us. Cause
Thank you. Yeah, I would love to, man.
it was great to have you, and dude, great stories.
Thanks.
Yeah, it was fun.
Is there any words of wisdom to the audience you would like to give? Any upcoming people who maybe want to get into lighting and hang out with Dead Mouse 5?
First of all, don't do that second part. He's kind of what I would do is look for local tech companies as opposed to going to school for it, because that was what I was going to do. Or join it. Like, I also recommend against joining the union unless that you have exhausted all of your other tech possibilities for resources. But if you're a good union worker, you can get picked up by tech companies. But what I usually recommend for people is find a local company who's doing stuff. Just get in at the base. Like, you're just going to have to kind of work your way up through that grunt shit, just like any other job. But like, if you're trying to do like concerts and stuff, I don't necessarily like, people have spent a lot of money on school for lighting that doesn't necessarily pay them the amount that their school, unless you're going on tour or something. But
I feel like it would be not as wise to actually go to school, because technology changes so constantly that like your programs are going to be different than whatever curriculum you probably learned like a few years ago or so.
Mm-hmm. And that actually also is the other piece of really good advice that we like to give at my job is learn something new every day. And that's such like a corny thing to say, but like I've worked with like old men in the industry and stuff that are like they think they know everything because they've been doing it for so long. But like you said, the tech changes so much that like,
dude, everything changes.
They get a little ahead of their britches. And there was one time an old guy that was working for like another company that we were kind of working alongside with. And my boss asked him, he was like, dude, how do you kick such ass? And the old guy was like, dude, I never stop learning. Like every day, like I'm just like not afraid to keep learning because I know that I'm not the best at it.
Dude, it is like, it's one of the most cliche things. Like, don't ever stop learning. Don't ever stop asking questions. Like, don't be embarrassed if you're wrong and mess up, because as long as you're learning, that's what's important, man. And like, I've as joking as much as it is, like I've had so many fucking jobs in my life where I've seen old people in these jobs that are shit, and that's because they refuse to keep learning.
Totally, 100%.
So,
I love it when they get new devices and. What is it? What's wrong with the ones we got now? They work just fine. And they're like completely against any and all minor changes.
But, every time.
Yeah, it happens. So
again, everybody out there, keep learning, stay mindless. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks again, man. Stay mindless. Thank you for listening to the Mindless Morning Show. We appreciate you picking us out of the many great podcasts out there. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that little bell to get notified whenever we release a new episode or bonus content. Now go enjoy the rest of your mindless day.